Here we go. Episode 66, Techfall Tabletalks. I am your host, Julius Grit, and I'm going to cover the 2024 Beat the Streets NYC matches. So I'm pretty sure the Andrew Larez versus Jesse Mendez match has already been covered enough, right? That's for Flow to do. I'm going to talk about the NYC wrestlers that competed, and they were Oumar Tounkara and Evin Gursoy. So let's get going. First up, Oumar Tounkara versus Gray Burnett. He's from Ohio. So in the beginning, after a brief hand fight, Oumar quickly shoots for a double leg, but Gray defends it. Both wrestlers keep wrestling in a back and forth exchange until suddenly Oumar tweaks his knee. It was a little scary there, but Oumar was on the ground for a little bit, but he was able to get back up after a short break. He continued. Oumar posted his hand, then Gray used that to set up a double leg. Gray goes for a backdoor finish. During the scramble, Gray achieves back exposure, which gives him 2, and then they continue scrambling. They get back to neutral, and after measuring the distance, Gray shoots for a high crotch and is able to get the takedown. Gray attempts to turn, but wasn't able to secure a gut wrench or a lock of any kind to expose Oumar's back. They get stood back up. Hard snap down by Gray when they get stood up. Nice job by both guys, judging the distance, a lot of head taps, a lot of mat taps, some good fakes. Oumar shoots in, but Gray catches him in the front headlock. Gray does a nice job controlling Oumar's wrist in that front headlock. Oumar does some hand fighting, then hits an elbow pass to create some space. Nice back and forth hand fighting and shot attempts by both guys. Nobody's stalling here. They're both hunting for points. They then both get tied up with their foreheads in the mat. Oumar has an underhook, while Gray has an overhook. They both battle for control. This eventually ends up in a stalemate. Both wrestlers get stood back up or sent back to neutral. Another flurry, but Gray secures another front headlock. That seems to be a part of Gray's game plan for this match. Oumar is pretty prominent, right? He just won a Virginia Beach national title, NHSCA national title. So enough people have seen him wrestle. So Gray probably knows he has to control Oumar in the ties in order to get to his offense. Gray tries to hit a throw by, but Oumar recovers. Oumar then tries to hit a throw by of his own, but to no avail. Oumar continues circling around his opponent and then scores his first points of the match. The score is 4-2 Burnett at the end of the first period. I'm going into the second period here. Some very nice hand fighting and really fast movement by both guys to begin the second period. Gray keeps chasing Oumar down and eventually gets behind him and grabs his ankles, but he does not score right away. Why? Because he needs 3 points of contact. Very good parterre defense from Oumar. This entire match, he really did a good job up to that point of not getting turned. Gray picks up Oumar's leg, but Oumar tried to counter it, but wound up getting exposed in the process, which gave Gray 2. It's risky stuff, right? They scramble a bit and change positions, thus allowing Oumar to come through the back door and score 2 points of his own. After a short discussion by the refs about the score, the wrestling continues. Both wrestlers get themselves in another scramble. Gray wins that scramble, getting 2 more points. Then, after 4 leg laces, Gray Burnett wins this match via Techfall. Really, really good match. Even though Oumar lost and had that little bit, got hurt a little bit, still a really, really good match. Great performance by both those guys. But from NYC, so especially Oumar putting on a good performance even after getting hurt. Now we got Evin Gursoy versus Dunia Sibomana. New York versus New York. Evin's from Brooklyn, Dunia's from Long Island. 2 state champions actually as well. Dunia won it a couple of years ago, and Evin won it just this past year. This past February. Some quick hand fighting to start. Then Dunia stuffs a shot attempt by Gursoy. Dunia attempts to go behind, but Gursoy does a good job following while in the front headlock. Brief hand fighting exchange. Then Gursoy hits a nice down block to defend Dunia's shot attempt. After that, Gursoy goes in on the shot, but Dunia sprawls again. Dunia tries to deadlift Gursoy for a throw. Then Gursoy comes out the back door, but doesn't score yet because, again, you need to establish 3 points of contact. And for anyone that doesn't know what that means that if you're about to get behind somebody and they're like in a quad pod type thing, it's a little different in folk style. You can still kind of get 2 there, but in freestyle, you need 3 points of contact. So in folk style, if one knee hits the ground and you're on top of your opponent like that, you get 2. But in freestyle, if one person puts the guy that you're on top of, if he puts one knee on the ground in freestyle, you're not going to score yet. If he puts 2 knees down in freestyle, you're still not going to score. You need to establish 3 points of contact. So it has to be 2 knees and an elbow, 2 elbows and a knee, this, that, and the third. But it has to be 3 points of contact in freestyle. So Gursoy rolls backwards from a crab ride, because he wound up getting to the crab ride, and then established control on top. That gave Gursoy 4 points, because the roll itself gave him 2, because you're already exposing Dunia's back. And then he wound up actually officially taking control, so the roll didn't count as control, like the refs didn't put it together. It counted as 2 and then 2, so he wound up getting 4 points there. The ref stood them back up, as Gursoy was unable to turn Dunia from parterre. They get back up, some back and forth slide bys, leads to Dunia getting on Gursoy's legs. Gursoy then rolls Dunia through, but Dunia comes back and takes control of Gursoy's back. They both get 2 in this exchange. After Dunia is unable to turn Gursoy, they get stood back up. Nice hand fighting by both guys. Then Gursoy goes in for a shot. Dunia sprawls, tries to get behind. Then Gursoy comes out the back door, and the scramble continues. Gursoy uses his hips to expose Dunia's back, getting 2 more points. After being stood up, Gursoy quickly goes for a high crotch. Gursoy achieves back exposure after he gets Dunia in a crackdown position. Gursoy briefly achieves full control, then they get stood back up. After that, Dunia quickly moves away from a shot attempt by Gursoy, then hits a slide by. It gets to one of Gursoy's legs. They then move toward the edge, and Dunia hits a great 4-point throw to the outside, but no points were awarded. Gursoy up 10-6 to start the second period. Dunia darts to one leg, but Gursoy quickly gets out the way. Dunia gets to a tie and controls the wrist very well, and eventually gets to a leg. Both wrestlers scramble off camera, so I couldn't see what was happening. So these matches weren't on a flow. I found them on YouTube, and it was somebody that has a YouTube channel. It was actually Gray Burnett's, maybe his coach, I guess. I'm not sure who the guy was, but he was with Gray. And, well, probably wasn't his coach because he was recording the match. Probably his dad or somebody, right? So he was recording both these matches, and he interviewed a few people. So I got to see the match from like a different angle than usual, right? So what happened there was when they went like off camera, I guess he might have not had enough room. He didn't want to stand up or anything, so he couldn't like get his phone to exactly what was going on off camera. So, you know, anyone that was there, maybe you guys know what happened, but I couldn't see exactly what was going on over there, so I won't be able to speak on that because it was off camera. Not too sure if it impacted the rest of the match or not, but they get back on the mat, and then Dunia starts posting. After Dunia posts, Gursoy attacks the leg, then tries to come out the back door. After a tight scramble, Gursoy eventually gets the takedown. Gursoy then hits a trap arm gut on one side, then switches to the other side, hits a regular gut, and wins via Techfall. So again, whatever was happening off camera when they were scrambling, I couldn't see. So I'm wondering if maybe there were a few things that could have changed during that scramble. Maybe that scramble really doesn't matter much at all in the scheme of things, right? Who knows? But it seems to not have mattered much. Gursoy was in the lead for most of the match, and he was able to win via Techfall, which is really impressive, because Dunya is very good. So, hey, impressive win by Gursoy. So, the ending notes here. Even in defeat, like I said, Oumar looked great and showed he's tough by continuing to wrestle after hurting his knee. And the guy that was recording it, again, this wasn't on Flow, so he was pretty much up close and personal. So I could hear Oumar shout a little bit, he was hurting, his knee was hurting. I saw the pain on his face. That's how close the guy was. And yeah, Oumar was hurting bad. So it's really impressive, and it shows how tough he is to be able to come back and still have a really good match like that. And it's freestyle, so not every time somebody loses by Techfall does that mean that they just got smoked. That's not how this goes. Freestyle, you get stuck in one move and then that can be it. You can be having a great match the entire time. If this is folk style, who wins, right? You could think about that. But in terms of just this match itself and the way it went down, Oumar wrestled great, right? If he doesn't get caught in a leg lace toward the end, what happens, right? Because it's freestyle, it works differently, obviously, so, But don't look at the Techfall, guys. Do not look at him losing by Techfall as anything to diminish him. He's very, very good, and he had a great match. He really did. And then going into Gursoy's match, he was playing chess. Honestly. It was really a chess match, the way he was wrestling and the way he was being very tactical, thinking 2-3 moves ahead. He was really playing chess out there, and he did great. So for both those guys, it's just preparation for Fargo, It's really all it is. I know for a fact Oumar is trying to get to Fargo. He's fundraising for it, so I'll post about it again on my social media. Oumar's probably posted about it. Go check his Instagram page and stuff if you guys follow him. But Oumar's trying to fundraise to get there, because it does cost money to, travel expenses and all that other stuff. Oumar's definitely going. Am I sure if Evin's going or not? I don't know for a fact. But if Evin is going to Fargo, because usually guys in their senior year, I've said this before in other episodes, not everybody in their senior year goes to Fargo because they worried about getting hurt, before college starts, right? They're probably burned out from competing a lot and, practicing a lot. Maybe they just want to practice and not compete, just to focus solely on getting better and, working on the technique and such. This and that, different reasons, right? Some guys compete a ton, practice a ton, and just go right into the college season with no breaks. It just depends on who the person is, honestly. So I just want to explain that. But if Evin is definitely going to Fargo, and like I said, Oumar definitely is planning on it, this is just preparation. These two matches here, just preparation. So Oumar could have won, could have lost, he wound up losing, unfortunately. Evin did win, he could have lost. Not really the biggest deal in the world. It was for the Beat the Streets annual benefit, the great organization that Beat the Streets is. But these matches here, it really, for them looking at it, from their perspective, just preparation for Fargo, that's all it is. It's just a tune-up. It really doesn't matter if they won or lost. There's nothing on the line in these matches. It's just preparation. So, Oumar lost, but he learned. And Evin won, but, he knows now how to go into Fargo and the mindset he has to have. If he wrestles like that in Fargo, he gets a stop sign. Oumar's already a folk style national champion, so, I don't see why Oumar can't become a freestyle national champ. But we'll see in July what happens there. But, hey, both these guys look great. Their opponents look great as well. Dunya looked great, and Great Burnett looked great. Ohio, they're a big deal. They They've always had some top-notch wrestlers coming out of there over the years. So, yeah, all 4 of these guys, they're all going to be looking to get stop signs in July, and I can't wait to see it. Thank you guys for listening to this latest episode of Techfall Tabletalks. And I hope you're looking forward to the next one. I got some really cool interviews coming up, so the next 2 episodes, make sure you stay tuned.